welcome to those of you who are just turning into the Women's Biz Tribe Next Level Success Summit. I am so thrilled to have you joining us on this amazing jam-packed summit. So many incredible speakers that we've heard from and will continue to hear from over a couple of days. My name, for those of you who've just tuned in, is Annie Gibbins. I'm the CEO of Women's Biz Tribe, and put simply, I help women to save time, money, and energy so that they can fast track their journey to success, balance, and happiness. So what a great job do I have. I'm super excited that every delegate attending this summit has now automatically joined our global community, because my strong belief is that together we're stronger and together we rise. So I will not hesitate in introducing our next amazing speaker. Her name is Barb Hildenbrand, and Barb is a certified speaker, a teacher, a coach, and a Maxwell certified behavioral analysis trainer. She's also an author. She's always working on new books and things. She gives workshops. She absolutely loves to teach. And this lady has got a very, very strong faith, and she's also a mom and a grandma and even a great grandma. And we're going to hear all about her views on success and the impact of self-talk in this session. So welcome to the summit, Barb.
Thank you, Annie. It's so good to be with you. I'm very excited about this and excited to share.
Fantastic. So let's just set the scene then. What do you do as a trainer? Who do you work with? And therefore, why? What do you notice about people and their self-talk? How is that affecting them, and why is it such an important topic to discuss today?
Well, it's kind of basic. And I was, in thinking about presenting for the summit, I thought, I think I want to touch on something that's very basic to success in life and in business. But it's something that we kind of, I think, tend to start to ignore after a while. And that's self-talk. Years ago, I read a book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. And I thought, well, that seems like a funny title. So it interested me. So that worked. And as I read it, I realized we do talk to ourselves. We talk to ourselves all day, every day. And the importance of what you say is you can't put a price on that. If you're feeding yourself negative information, then you're going to get negative. And if you're feeding yourself positive information, you're going to get positive. Our brains are a computer, and it believes anything we give it. We feed it information, and it accepts that information as truth. Therefore, when we're telling ourselves that we are no good, or we messed up, or I'll never, whatever it is that you tell yourself, your brain believes that. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. Your brain thinks it's true because you're telling it that. On the other hand, if you tell it, for example, I'm losing weight, my brain's going to believe I'm losing weight, and it's going to work toward that goal. So our computers up here will automatically work toward the goal or whatever it is that you're telling it to do, basically. So if you are telling yourself you are an awesome woman, you are a powerful woman, you are successful in business, your brain is automatically going to follow that direction and take you to that awesomeness, that success.
Yeah, it definitely leads to that whole aspect of laws of attraction, right? Because I often think if I wake up in the morning and I'm just like going, right, today I'm going to have an amazing day. I'm going to look for opportunities to, really progress in some of my goals, or to get a new connection, develop a new relationship, have someone else come into my program, because I'm actually saying those words, whether they're audible or not. Most of it's just in your head. That does make you then think about looking for those opportunities, right? It really does lead you. I used to think a very long time ago that, oh, well, okay, if you think something, then you say it, which is actually the other way around. You say it and then you start thinking that way, right? Some things, before you've even thought about it, they come out, right? And so a lot of that automatic behavior, which is the whole aspect of self-talk, is incredibly influential, because that's right. And that's why, we love affirmations and other things to set the tone of the day, right? Because you're actually speaking it out. And then it's not just, pop psychology. It's not that everything's going to be wonderful. It means that you're positioning yourself in a frame of mind that you will be looking for those things. And therefore, you're more likely to find the opportunities when they come before you, as opposed to them just coming by because you're not expecting it.
Right. Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big fan of acronyms. And so to go along with stepping stones, I came up with STEP, which self-talk equals perception. So your self-talk is going to be the perception of what your brain is thinking of you and what it's going to work toward. So there's a few things that I came up with to kind of help. And I came up with another one called Relay. And these are just steps that you can take to help with your self-talk. And the first one is recognize. So you need to recognize when you are using negative self-talk, or when something that you're telling yourself is just not quite in a positive light. So you need to recognize that. And then you evaluate throughout the day, what are you saying to yourself? Maybe at lunchtime or whenever you have a minute to stop and think to yourself, okay, how have I done today? Have I been kind to myself today? Or have I been kind of hard on myself? So you need to evaluate what you're doing and laugh. Laugh. It is absolutely the best medicine. Laughter it releases so many hormones and just changes your chemistry so that your mind is in a better position to be thoughtful, be creative, and just be happier through the day. And if you have to, I give you absolute permission to go online and find a baby laughing. That will make you laugh, or kittens or puppies or something. But it just seems that a baby's laugh, you can't help it. You just can't help it. And I love that. The A is for absorb or avoid. So you want to either absorb the positive and happy thoughts and actions of people around you, or if you have people who are toxic, you want to avoid them. One of my favorite sayings is, some people are best loved from a distance. There are some people that you just don't want to have around you in your life. And that's okay. That's okay. We don't all, based on the personality or the behavioral stuff that I do with Maxwell, not everybody is the same. Thank God. I love the diversity of people around the world. I love that. But not everybody gets along. And not everybody rubs everybody else the right way. So some people you just need to avoid. But the people that do feed into your positive energy, your happiness, your self-worth, you definitely want to absorb those people. And then the Y is for yes. Be positive. You talked a moment ago about affirmations. Absolutely. Affirmations are wonderful. And it's okay to put notes up in the car, or in the bathroom, in the kitchen, wherever it is that you frequent, so that you can see those positive, you are awesome kind of notes. Do it. write it on the bathroom mirror. I mean, pretty much most of us see ourselves in the mirror every morning. So write something on there that's going to be positive for you and say them out loud. I even thought about make up a song. You know, what's your favorite song? Change the words and make them fit your affirmation so that that can feed you. You can sing that in the car or the shower, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and you can feed yourself that positive self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
I just love that. So recognize, evaluate, laugh, absorb or avoid, and yes, affirm. That's the relay.
I love the simplicity, and those listening in, make sure you write relax. Or was it relay? Write relay, and then just start, putting those words in front of you. I love the way it just starts with recognize, right? Even just that first step, just stopping yourself and recognizing the volume of self-talk that you do. And then the content. Would you ever speak to anyone else the way you speak to yourself? Like many of us would go, no. It's like, oh my gosh, well, why do you expect other people to treat you well if you don't treat yourself well? Why do you expect other things to happen in a positive way if you're not actually putting that in? It's like I'm quite a healthy lifestyle kind of lady. And so, if I'm looking at that, is what you're putting into your body that's going to then come out. And so it really does start with that recognize point. And with that, I encourage those listening in to also speak them out, not in front of other people, but when you start stopping and thinking, okay, what did I just say to myself? Instead of just keeping it into your head, actually just say it, and then bring it close and examine, why did I say that? Right? So be able to say, I go, oh, I'm never going to be able to do this. Say someone's in my Women's Biz tribe, and part of the benefits is speaking on our summit every 3 months. And then I'll go, oh my gosh, you should speak on the summit. And they'll go, oh no, I'd be hopeless. I would never be able to do that. Those ladies are really amazing. I'm not. That kind of negative self-talk. You can do that when it stays in your head, and then, and no one knows. But when you actually stop yourself and go, hang on, what did I just say in my internal narrative? And then speak it out. Now, I don't want you to start speaking it out a lot, but I want you to start pausing and go, oh my gosh, that is seriously limiting. That could be toxic. That is robbing me of the opportunity to grow. It's also robbing other people of the opportunity to hear from me, to share in what I know and love, and also just sometimes who I am. I've got a thought on something. I've got an opinion on something. You're actually, by doing that, robbing the world of your beauty, right? And your potential. And so I love the fact that you can actually start doing that. And when you do that, and then you even just, go to the next step, delegates, and then write it down in a journal and go, these are the things I have to stop. Right? So you're not reinforcing them, you're actually speaking them out, and then saying, this is a saying that I've said before, because when you've actually highlighted it and brought it to your attention, then the next time it happens in your head, you go, oh, hello, you're on the red list, not on the green list, right? Oh, and then all of a sudden, it's crazy, right, Barb? You could then suddenly go, oh my gosh, I speak like this 20 times a day. I've picked myself up today, and I do it so much more than I think. And then eventually you'll go, then the green side of my list is always like, okay, if I say that, what positive statement could I replace it with? Thank you, Annie. I would love that opportunity. Annie, would you be able to help me to make sure that I practice enough so that it's successful? Would you be able to give me some tips, whatever, or can you help me with my confidence, or I will rise above my fear or phobia of something? There's so many ways, but we don't do that, do we, Barb? If we suddenly just go, we rinse and repeat.
Right.
And how many thoughts do we have? Something like 90,000 thoughts a day, like insane.
It is. It's a lot when you think about it.
It really is. No, like seriously, that is legit statistic. And so if they're negative or not helping you or limiting your potential,
right,
world. So those that you coach, you're with the Maxwell training program, which is like elite training program. What do you notice about people from the positive and negative impact when they suddenly get this revelation and start tracking their internal narrative and bringing it into a positive frame of reference? What happens to people that you work with?
Well, that's one of the things that I have found brings me such great joy. I love watching people succeed. And when someone has done something that they didn't think that they could do, and then they've done it, and I'm right here going, yay, I'm so excited for you. And that, I love that. I love to see people do things that they didn't think that they could. And that's what this self-talk does, is it tells the mind that that is possible.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that. And when you're telling yourself that you do that, then your brain, like I said, is going to follow suit. It's going to do what you tell it you do.
Yep.
If you say, like I said, I'm losing weight, my body's going to follow that directive. It's going to do the things that I need to do to lose weight. And I just love it when people start using the talk and they're like, I think maybe, in coaching, I think maybe I can do that. And they're really starting to believe that, I can own my own business.
Mm-hmm.
I can open that company. I can write that book. I can. And that is so encouraging. And then, like I said, when I can cheerlead for them and say yay at the end of it, I think that's fabulous. But one thing I thought of was, we as entrepreneurs, we are our first employee.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking, would you talk to your employee the way that you talk to yourself? Usually in one of my programs, I ask, would you talk to your best friend the way that you speak to yourself? And if so, would they still be your best friend? Well, would you speak to your employees the way that you speak to yourself? And if so, would they still be your employees? Would they stay in your employ if you spoke to them the way that you speak to yourself? Something to think about. We need to be kinder to ourselves. And as a result, then we end up being more kind to others.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love what you mentioned about children, because we're both nanas, for those of you who are watching in. And I've just taken, I've got two granddaughters, age 4 and 1. And one, I just die. I just my heart sinks when I hear them giggle. When you get that baby giggle, I totally know what you mean. It's just hilarious. But I've just taken my 4-year-old for her first ski trip down to the snow. And it was really interesting because I love the beauty of children, that they just believe they can do everything, right? And then so it's like, I can do it. I don't need your help. I don't need your help. And then suddenly things get hard, like skiing is harder than it looks. And then you go from I can do everything, I don't need you, to I can't and I never will. And it's and the fixed mindset kicks in, because there's such a big divide between the belief of, if I'm invincible, to, oh my gosh, I'm failing here. And I think that's a tragedy of society, right? That we're actually, there's a whole continuum there in between. And that's what I was trying to do with her, going, okay, because, she'd be going, no, I can't do it. I'll never, ever be able to do it. And I go, oh, well, I think you can if you go between my legs and Nana goes down the slope and you just hold on and then you do that. And she goes, I could do it. I'm skiing. And I go, yeah, that's right. And she goes, but I can't ski by myself. And I go, well, you can't yet, but I think you might be able to soon if we do this. And then you can ski a little bit, and then you can ski better. And then, just to be able to break it down. And I think when you start thinking in this way, and it's really easy when you think of something practical, because often we get in our head so much, it's very personal and it's very self-critical, and you just feel the failure of the task. But when you start breaking down, my scenario of actually teaching my granddaughter how to ski, and then turning because we've unfortunately lost that belief, I suppose, that childhood belief has been smacked out of us by life, of everyone who says we can't do it or we won't be able to, or we've told ourselves that. And so when you actually start looking at when you've got those conversations exposed, it's really interesting to actually go, okay, well, I couldn't then instead of I can't, or what would make me be able to do it a little bit. And then my favorite saying is lean into your empowered future.
Yes.
What do you have to do today that would be slightly better, or a slight learning curve, a slight improvement? And if you keep doing that, all of a sudden you'll go, oh my gosh, as I've got some people on this summit, I'm speaking at a global summit. Like, that is so cool. I would never have thought that, right? But it didn't happen. They still went to the coaching class that then went and said, how do we present at a summit, and how do we learn how to speak, and how do we, present all these different aspects? So it's like, it's the breaking down, it's the breadcrumbs that get you to that success mindset, as opposed to the extreme of people who just go, well, you said something negative, turn it into a positive and it'll be fine. Well, it won't be fine because you don't believe it, right? You only achieve what you believe, right? And so if you don't actually believe it deep down, then whatever you say to yourself, you'll go, oh yeah, today's going to be amazing. And your head's going, no, it's not. No, it's not. Right. So I really love the breakdown, and you must see that so many times with those you coaches. Like, that's what you're doing. You're doing the stepping stones to actually see what steps are required for you to get a win here, right? And then you can have a little win to a bigger win, and then a out of the ballpark win. And that can take time, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
I absolutely love it. Now let's tap into that part in the middle, absorb or avoid. How about you speak to that point a little bit more? What are we avoiding? I think we need to definitely absorb people around us who are, positive influences. And that's that phrase of, you're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Very, very true, right? Because you absorb their energy, you absorb their words, you absorb their mindset, all that sort of thing. But also there's so many things that we actually need to just block out and avoid. Give me some examples of that. And then if we chose not to do that, what's the effect that they're having on our life?
Well, things that you should avoid, number one, are the toxic people. As much as you can. I mean, sometimes we can't.
Sometimes they're family.
Right. So if we can limit the time or do some self-talk to realign what effect they're having on us, that would be great. But if you can avoid those toxic people, it absolutely is something that you should try to do as often as possible.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not always easy. It's not always possible if they're family, but
when it's not possible, right? Sorry to cut you off there, but when it's not possible, you can also then be aware of that. Everyone's got people in their family they're just going to make me lose it, right? Today, like, we've all got them. Like, we might be that to someone else. Like, no judgment. But, even though you go, well, I can't for this situation, but you can certainly prepare your nest, as I call it. So you can go and say, okay, some brother or uncle's coming over and they're going to just make me explode or put me down or whatever. And if you're not strong enough at that time to go, and you don't feel that you have that choice, by the way, we do always have a choice, but if you're not at that stage yet, you can certainly prepare your little support crew. And then you bring a sister with you or a cousin and go, just have someone around you, because people will also only act badly when they believe that they have power. And if you disable power and the impact that they have, it definitely works. Plus, you feel more supported with someone else being there.
Right. Yeah, and there's sometimes situations where you aren't comfortable. Maybe there's a place that you go from time to time that maybe brings back a memory or, kind of a PTSD kind of thing. Don't go there.
Yeah.
If friends want to go with you, just tell them, it's just not a place I want to be. You don't have to tell them why. it's your life. So don't go. If there's some place, or if there's a TV show that somebody in the house watches that gives you a bad vibe, or don't watch it. Go read a book. Read a good book. A positive book. So there are plenty of things that you can avoid, and there are many ways to do it. You did touch, though, on, if you're not strong enough yet, if your self-talk hasn't built you up enough yet, then yes, take a friend, or somehow get that support that you need at the time until you are strong enough to say, you know what, we're not going to have a conversation.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. You have the choice to remove yourself from you have a choice not to be in that place, right? So that's an empowered choice that is possible. And for those who are wanting to work on that, definitely link into the Women's Tribe and come to our events, which run every day online, anywhere in the world you can attend, because you will be able to start working through those issues with women who will have your back and support you and cheer you on. But besides that, you have the choice, therefore, not to put yourself in those situations. If you're not up to that yet, and then that situation does, that's right, you're able to then either bring in the cavalry to support you, or at those times and monitor them. Once again, awareness, then step back out of that space and go and say, look, unfortunately, that tone's not going to work for me, or I think our values aren't aligning here at this moment. And then you can learn how to shut down conversations that will then spiral into a negative self-talk pattern. And I think that's really great that you can, and then eventually it's a bit like, you can get to such a great state. And I've had that myself, and those that I've coached, that, it's a bit like someone who goes through a divorce and they go, well, I can't stand them, or all we do is fight. And then I can't stand them, or I feel sick when I see them, or I want to avoid them. And then you can get to a stage that you go, I can be pleasant, I can be lovely. They're just not in my world. They're not upsetting my mindset, right? They're just another human being, like someone I pass in the street. I can do that. And so it's a state of mind. All of this is a state of mind. And but also to be kind with ourselves, that it's a journey. That's a different time frame and a different ability for us all to get to the different stages of how we respond to that. And I think that's the key to the learning of this session. And we will have to wrap up, is that, that we are all, I think you've given a fantastic framework with your relax, recognize, evaluate, laugh, absorb, or avoid, and yes. And then also start thinking, for those of you who are now going to put these really practical steps into play, be able to think, where am I at that continuum? Am I, avoiding? Can I avoid? Can I bring in other people to support me? Can I reframe? Am I strong enough to reframe conversations, to shut them down, or to influence the direction that they're going to go? Or, actually, do I want to work on even just rising above that, and then being able to go, you know what? I actually want to just own my own space and own myself. I don't want to be running or hiding. I want to be able to live my life, empowered, without the stress of those sorts of impacts. So what a fantastic conversation we've had today. I've absolutely loved it. People can find Barb at steppingstonevip.com. What are they going to find when they get there, Barb?
Oh, goodness. Some of my programs I have on there. I have a Soul Spa program, which we had to take virtual when COVID hit. And I have some DISC programs that are going on where we can do an evaluation using the Maxwell DISC program, and do behavioral analysis. And that will help find your strengths and maybe some blind spots that need to be recognized. We all have blind spots. And sometimes we don't always know where they are. And so we try to build up an area where it's just not something that's in our realm. And so we find those, and we talk about how to work with that and how to communicate with other behavioral types as well. So if there's a particular type that you maybe don't get along with so much. For example, our strong people, our Ds, our prominent Ds, they are just short and to the point. And so a lot of times they're taken as just rude. Well, they're not rude. They just are to the point. They want the facts, and let's get on with life. So, just understanding that and being able to communicate better with the different types of behaviors is so helpful. It is just so helpful.
Fantastic. So we're now out of time. Go to visit steppingstonesvip.com. Reach out to Barb if you're wanting to have, that's right, disc profiling done, learn more about yourself. You can definitely find Barb in the tribe. Reach out to her. All of our speakers are so contactable. They're all here to help you on your way, cheer you along. We're the ultimate mix of cheerleader and accountability partners, right? And then we just love bomb you in the middle. And so thank you so much for presenting at our summit today. That's been a really practical session. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Annie.